Hey, and good morning, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Well, a player that Celtic were looking to try and get from Hibs. Well, we're not going to do that because it looks like he is on the exodus. This morning, looks like he's one of the Italian football seems to be the place for everyone to go just now, isn't it? If you're a young kid coming through the system in Scotland, um, you're going to Italy. Kieran Bowie looks like he is on his way to Italy. And Celtic have lost it. And fair play to the wee lad for Kirkcaldy, fair play to the young lad for Kirkcaldy. If he is on his way to Italy, don't know. You've got to say, it's a fantastic move. I'm just checking this. No. There's no point talking about transfer news because it's changed. It's like Martin O'Neill saying, it's completely just changing from hour to hour. You wake up in the morning and what you think may be a deal that may be going to happen, you then switch on social media and find out there is absolutely no chance that deal will happen. But let's talk about James Forrest. That's one player that we know has been at Celtic for a long time. And will James Forrest, Celtic have come out and said, well, they haven't come out in public, but it's been said that Celtic are going to allow James Forrest to make his own mind up. Now, if you remember about a year ago, Scott Brown tried a cheeky little one to get James Forrest just to come and play, just come and play more football. But James Forrest wanted to break records, and does James Forrest? His career's up at Celtic. Could he still do something for another year at Celtic? Or should Celtic keep him around? Or does James Brown is dead. It's because I was listening to that this morning. Whilst I was getting my breakfast. Cracking tune that for back in the day. Does James Forrest, instead of hanging up his boots, does he go out and play under Scott Brown for a year, and then become part of Scott Brown's coaching team? Or do we keep him at Celtic? Don't know. Do you offer James a job for life at Celtic? We did it with John Kennedy. I think. I mean, I know that Celtic are saying like it's up to James if he wants to go in and play for another year, get some game time in his final year, or does he just? If you're James Forrest, what do you do? Do you sit back and you go, do you know what? I've had a fantastic career. I get injured now and again. Is it time to just pass on? And the old LA style, James Brown is dead. Ah, you know your tunes, mate. You know your tunes. It was a cracking tune, wasn't it? It was an absolutely fantastic tune. I'm glad somebody caught it. Fair play to you. Fair play to you, mate. But yeah, the old LA style, James Brown is dead. Cracking tune. Anyway, can't sing, but anyway. Yeah, it was a good tune. Keep Forrest to help out the new manager, unless it's another Nancy Dud. Do you keep James Forrest on a personal note? Does James Forrest go, do you know what? I want to go and try and play somewhere. Or does he just go, do you know what? I've had a fantastic career. Played in the Champions League many times. I've played against some fantastic players. Does he really want to go down that road of, like a lot of players have done that have came to Celtic? There've been a lot of players that have came to Celtic just to hang it up on the wall with that shirt with a name on it. I played for Celtic. Bollocks. But James Forrest doesn't need to do that, does he? Because James Forrest has got the shirts of many players that he's played against. And for me, I think that James Forrest should be offered a job for life at Celtic. Like a lot of, we had Danny McGrain at Celtic for years. Bobby Lennox was in and around the club for years. Don't know, just to name a few. I mean, Roy Aitken's still around the club. He's came back to the club after a sabbatical away in Saudi Arabia. Before it was trendy to go to Saudi Arabia, Roy Aitken was over in Saudi Arabia coaching for years as a number two, and that's where, you know, he came back after all those years in Saudi before it was trendy, and he's back at Celtic in a capacity. We can't let Forrest leave the club. Morning, everyone, says Ian. I don't think that you can. I think that can Bruno take Balagwisha as well? I think a player like James Forrest, if you need someone, I mean, if you need someone to sit down with the younger lads coming through the system, and I know it's changed days, but when you've got someone that's won, he's the undisputed. You know, and he's not everyone's cup of tea. Do you know, a lot of people have been saying for years, he's done, get him out of the club. Do you know, he's done playing, he shouldn't be at Celtic. But sometimes you have to keep your legends at the club. So it gives inspiration to the younger players coming through. Do you know, so the younger players, when they do come through, they're not going, they're not listening to their agent all the time. And their agent's going, we can get you a move at 16, 17. You know, you've got James Forrest, who could be working in some capacity with the youth and saying, do you know what, just stick at it, son, because you can have a fantastic career at Celtic. You know, you can see players. I mean, I know that there's players that have moved away from Celtic around 20 grand a week and all the rest of it. But anyway, how do we really make this board listen to? I would suggest we stop buying season books. Make all games pay as you go. That will never happen. People will not stop buying season books. It's never going to happen. Could you, James? This is my reply to Jim. Sorry. Could you imagine the Green Brigade section not buying their season tickets? Celtic would sell them to the next person. The Green Brigade would not stop buying season tickets. The boys would not stop buying season tickets. As admirable as that is, you know, as it's not the 1990s ultimately, and people will buy the tickets. If there is another manager, comes in Ronnie Dyla type manager, you may see that certain people that supported the club over the last 10 years that necessarily didn't support the club, well, didn't go to games under the Ronnie Dyla year. Now, we all know what happened under that year. There was a massive bit of Celtic Park on the upper tier that was covered in a big tarpaulin to make it just look green, and it was like a section that was blocked out because the Celtic couldn't sell the season tickets. Nobody wanted to buy them, even on European nights. Not interested. Don't know. It says more about the fan base than it does anything else, to tell the truth. But I think if we go, depending on the next manager, Celtic will play a game of rush. We've managed to turn this round to the fucking board again, where they want it to be all about James Forrest first thing. The board will play a game of Russian roulette, because why would you buy a season ticket for Celtic next year not knowing who the manager is going to be? Not knowing the aspirations of the club, not knowing the ambition of the club. There's a lot of people will call that into question, and they will hold back. But you know what Celtic are like? Before the end of the season, they go, season tickets are on. Remember when season tickets used to go on sale during the summer? You used to finish the season, and then it would be renewal time. Celtic bring renewal time into this season, which is unbelievable. But anyway, I don't think it will happen. But you will get a lot of people that will just say, not a chance. Forrest pathway manager. Maloney was only keeping his seat warm. He would be a great pathway manager. He would be a great pathway manager. But you don't know what he wants to do in his career. Does he want to go into? Does James Forrest want to go into coaching? Maybe not. Maybe the pathway manager is the perfect job for James Forrest. You know, it gets him to speak to other clubs on a weekly basis about potentially putting younger players out on loan to get them some game time. And then it also gets them trying to make sure that the careers of these younger guys and they know that, you know, there's this guy that's won so much for Celtic. People might say, but he didn't play as many games as he could have, you know. But I think that when you've got the family of younger kids and you've got me Jamesy Forrest sitting and talking to you, and you're like, I know if it was one of my kids, and I'm sitting in a few years' time for now, and you know, it's luckily enough to have a kid that plays football. Um, and you're sitting talking to James Forrest, I'd just be like, just sign the contract, just fucking sign it. I would trust you. You would trust Jamesy Forrest to do the right thing for your players, for your son's career. It's a bit like you would trust Sean Maloney. I mean, if it was likes of Brendan Rodgers and stuff, you're like, I fucking don't trust a word you're saying, mate. But anyway, Danny Cassie's in the house. Make sure to keep James Forrest. Let me jump into some names. Do you think Calmac will go? No, not in this window. He may in the summer, but I don't think so. Calmac wants to be a one-player club as well. I know that he went out on loan, but I mean, as in, he will want to hang up his boots at Celtic. I think Callum's got 2 years left on his contract, and Callum knows that there will come a time where Callum will not play as much, but people like James Forrest and Callum McGregor, you know, they've got Celtic in their blood. Celtic's been their career. Celtic's all that they know. Callum McGregor, I mean, there's the nonsense chat about him going over to, and I think that was media driven. I don't think that there was any truth in Brendan Rodgers going, I want Callum McGregor to come over. I think it was bullshit, to be honest, and just driven by the media. And when you look at the media narrative over the last 4 or 5 months, it's all been about to try and disrupt Celtic. It's all been about disrupt Celtic, and we've been, to be fair, we've handed them a big chunk of stuff on a plate to say, yeah, you know, we're shite, so just give us all the fucking dogs abuse that you want. But players like Forrest, players like Callum McGregor, they're not interested in going otherwhere. They know what they know. You need people like James Forrest and Callum McGregor at the club long term. And you know, you can say what you want about Callum just now, but thinking about after he stops playing, Callum McGregor might decide after next season, he might decide, like Aaron Moy did. Aaron Moy still had a year on his contract, and he went, you know what, I'm just going to fucking retire. I'm just going to retire. I don't particularly need the cash. I mean, we're quite financially sound. I can go leave, get back to my family. You know, can do a little side hustle or something, and have a happy life, or even change career, like a lot of them do. A lot of football players completely change career and go on to do something that they really enjoy. You know, football was always just a job for them. Football was something that they'd done as a kid and they grew up, but then they have a rebirth, if you like, in their mid-30s. I think that Callum might do that. Might get a year under the next boss. The next boss might come in and go, Cal Mac, you're getting on a bit, lad. Do you know what I mean? And I know you've been a fantastic servant to the club, but I can't guarantee a starting position every single week. And I've just got to let you know that. I know that you've been club captain, and I know it's been a great honour for you to be club captain, but time doesn't stand still for any man. And Callum will know that. Callum's big enough to take that one on the chest and, you know, chin up and accept it, because he did it to other players. Do you know, he's champing on the door, the manager saying, do you know, Gaffer, I'm way faster than this old geezer. it's a fact of life of football. But with Callum, I don't think that he'll go to. Callum's he stopped playing international football so he could spend time with his family. He's not going to up sticks and take his family over to Saudi for a year when he's got young kids at school and stuff. And he's a family man. I can't see him spending all that time in Saudi just for the coin. Let's face it, he's had no bad career. At 37 grand a week, you're banking fucking loads of that, aren't you? I mean, some people say you go to Saudi and you can make life changing amount of money. 37 grand a week's life changing amount of money. There's a lot of people who don't even earn 37 grand a year that follow Celtic. And Callum's very humble, and he will know that. So I don't think that the Callum McGregor to Saudi will ever happen. You might be wrong, but I don't think he will. If he retires, he can take a year or two off, spend time with his family, and then get straight into a job at the club. Talking about James Forrest. Keeping Lundberg at the team as the making of Forrest. Long time ago, that one. Let him go. The club needs massive reset from top to bottom. Some players are getting too lazy, says the Time Bandit. I don't think it's about keeping James Forrest here in a playing capacity. Do you know, I'm thinking that I think James will know that James might decide that his time's up. And, I think the talk should be all about, does James Forrest automatically get a job? Like a lot of the older players that played for Celtic and that had jobs in the background, because all the older guys that played for Celtic have all stepped back from Celtic. There's not many legends kicking around the dressing room, kicking around. I mean, there was a Champions League winner that used to do the kit. Used to put people's kits out. A Champions League winner. And you're thinking, this guy's sorting my kit out. You won the bloody Champions League, for goodness sake. But when you get to a certain age and you're just wanting to stand around the club, you do anything for the love of the club. And having people like that, laddie, come here, and Maddie, do you know what I mean? And having that continuation, if you like, of stars of the club being in the background to motivate younger players, to keep younger players' feet firmly on the ground. And I think that that's one thing that we should be talking about. Is people like James Forrest, Callum McGregor, Kieran Tierney in the future. They will be people that will be kept in and around the club to keep younger players' feet firmly on the ground. No get too above themselves, no get too ahead of themselves. And that's why you need to keep people like that at the club. Not necessarily, let's keep James Forrest and bring him on in 20 years' time and he's still, when the season's 2030 and James Forrest has just come on to take a penalty for Celtic. I don't mean that. I think that you do need that type of player at the club. I mean, let's face it, we're bringing back a lot of ex-players into the club for that very reason, because a lot of the older guys are going, fucking, I'm in my 70s now, mate. They don't all want to be like Martin O'Neill, get the tracksuit on every day. Too many people waiting on season tickets to snap them up. I'm not too sure about that. The Green Brigade ban has been swept under the carpet. They're still not allowed in. Yes, I know this. I wonder what happened with the Green Brigade season tickets. Maybe they'll take them off them. Nope. I've no idea. It's just getting ridiculous. How come Sevco are buying players and we're not? Because Celtic are going to go on a spending spree after tomorrow. Once we decide and once we know who we're playing in the Europa, Celtic will go out and get some players in. Trust me. Zero ambition. Zero ambition for who? For James Forrest. Why would James Forrest want to leave the club and then go and play at a lower league? Why can he not just stay at the club and get a job as pathway manager, get a job in the B team? It's an interesting one. It's Ronnie. James Forrest should be pathway manager, ambassador. I think the ambassador role goes to older players, ex-players. Roy Aitken's an ambassador. Like I said, Roy Aitken came back to the club and he's an ambassador. James Forrest isn't at ambassador age yet. He's not. He's old in terms of football players, but he's not old. Do you know what I mean? He's not that. I mean, even I'm leaving at the age of ambassador role for Celtic yet. Do you know what I mean? So I think we should. But being the club's most decorated player, I think that he should be kept in the club. That's my own personal one. A lot of people saying good morning to Stephen Johnson. Morning, folks. Overnight, I suppose no signings. Nah, that's why we're talking about the possibility. What happens next after James Forrest? Because it's a massive, do you know, couple of months for James. Do you know, he's came through the system at Barrafield. He's seen Lennoxtown being built. He's had to start driving up to Lennoxtown. He's seen Celtic change over the years. He's seen players come. He's seen players go. You know, does he want to stay at the club in any capacity, or does he just want to go? Fuck this, man! I've done enough football in my career. I'm going to sit on my jacksie for a few. Or does Scott Brown come in and go, Jamesy, do you want to come and play rough and tumble football? And James Forrest will go, fuck that, mate. Do you know what I mean? I'd end up putting my back out and everything. You'd end up getting elbowed in the face and stuff down the leagues. Forrest is no manager. Don't think he has any presence. Fair play to his long career, winning medals, but can't see him managing a team. I don't think we're talking about him being manager. Pathway manager is more the loans manager, isn't it? In the youth. You never know. James Forrest might be. It's always the ones. It's always the players that are not expected to have a great managerial career that end up having the great managerial career. Paul Lambert, fantastic player. Managerial career, questionable. Just not up to it. Neil Lennon, fantastic player. Managerial career, success at Celtic. That's it. That is it. That's the highlight. Do you know, he's been sacked for Hibs. He's been sacked for a foreign club. He's now down at Dunfermline. James Forrest could be the one that maybe. Wait a minute. Do you know what I mean? You never know. You never know. Just saying. Great managers weren't the best players. Some may say James Forrest wasn't the best player. Will he get a new contract? Says Jim. Celtic. It's been said in circles that Celtic will make up his own mind. At the same time, as well, the next manager, I don't think that he would. I mean, do you keep James Forrest knows that his playing days are done, and I think that James Forrest. I mean, if it's me and if Celtic are going, there's a job there for you. Or do you want to go and play at another club for a year? Just for a wee kickabout, your last hurrah at football. And I think that that's where the conversation is. It's not about keeping James Forrest here as a first team player. I think it's about keeping James Forrest in some kind of capacity in the back room, like we did with Danny McGrain, like we did with Bobby Lennox, do you know? Like we did with our great kitman. Listen to Tony Watt's interview with Halliday. He singled out Forrest as the guys that he looked up to. But there you go. See what I mean? Younger players coming through the system, having them in and around the club, and you're thinking, younger guys are cocky as anything. You've got all the confidence. If you need to get 18, 19, 20, you think that you know better than everybody. We've all been there. Do you know, you think that fucking nobody can tell me anything. And walks James Forrest and goes, "Hold my pint, son." His medals has gone out like this. He's coming in. coming in like Mr. T, just a smaller version in white. Dun, 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 dun. In 1972, there was a crack commando unit called James Forrest who came into Celtic and annihilated every record going. But anyway, if I'm honest, I can't stand this jobs for the boys approach at the club. Look how stale the club is. We need new ideas, and we need new ideas in every area. Lauren, I'm going to disagree with you with that, because see, when a club completely changes everything at the back, and you bring in people that don't know the club, you lose your identity, and that's a fact. It's happened at many clubs. I mean, yes, in the managerial sense, yes, in a backroom and staff sense, but the core of the club and the core of Celtic has always been about, having players in the background, kit room, B team, whatever, that can give you the motivation. Young lads coming through. I mean, young lads these days are cocky little shits, aren't they? We were cocky little shits when we were younger. Although you're not a boy, but you get what I'm saying. And sometimes when you've got this little cocky shit that thinks he's absolutely fantastic, you need people at the club just to make sure that his feet's firmly on the ground, and that they're not getting too above themselves, not getting too ahead of themselves. And that's what older players, established players that have been there, done it through the game, that have played Champions League, that have played for Scotland, all these aspirations that younger players have, they're not going to listen to their mum and dad. They're not going to listen to the manager, because they think the manager's a prick and is against them. But there's an ex-player that's kicking about the background that says, "Come here, son, sit down, I want to hear a wee word with you." They listen to that person. And that's why you have jobs for the boys. Do you know, they need someone without the little bit of authority, the little bit of, he's fucking talking shite, man. And then you've got this agent just bumming you up and telling you the fucking best thing in the world. You need someone from within the club structure, but isn't directly like, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing it. It's just someone to have a little conversation with that you respect, because you know that this guy's been there and done it. And that's why, if it was me, James Forrest gets something like the pathway manager job. I'm just saying. I'm not even going to mention that Egypt wanting the CEO job. I've seen a headline about it, and I'm not even writing the article. Kalmak is our biggest problem. His levels have dropped, but there's no plan B, and he's jaded from 3 games a week. Yeah, well, that's why Celtic have been trying to get in a central midfield player, a holding midfield player. And Celtic know, and listen, Callum McGregor will know. I'm not getting any younger. He will know, and Callum McGregor, when he's came out and he said, "We need players in." Maybe he's directly saying to the media that he's been saying to the Celtic backroom staff and the Celtic hierarchy, "Look, I'm not getting any younger. There's nobody at the club to come and take over my position. We need players in. We need someone in that's going to sit and fill my boots, that's going to sit in that holding midfield role, that's going to boss games. There's nobody at the club right now that can do it." Maybe that's what Callum McGregor's secretly saying to us. He'd probably learn from the best, from Brendan Rodgers, because he was great at saying things like that. It took you about 3 interviews with Brendan Rodgers to piece everything together to realise what he was actually talking about. And then once you put the 3 weeks worth of interviews, you're like, so this is what he's getting at. But anyway, we move on. Trying to unsettle our main men and same old shite for the mainstream media. I don't think it's trying to unsettle James Forrest. He's coming. It's fact, mate. He's coming. It's the end of his career. He's out of contract this summer. He can sit down right now and he can sign a pre-contract with Auchinleck Talbot if he wanted to. more chance of him going to Scott Brown's team, but I think Scott Brown will dangle the carrot. If there's going to be anyone, listen, there's not many people that are going to say, "Aye, come on, James, come and play for us." Do you know what I mean? It's going to be someone like Scott Brown that will say, do you want to play some game time for the last wee? And he might just go, fuck that, mate. My body's fucked. My body's fucked. I think Callum's days are numbered at Celtic Park, Vaz. Yeah, it's like we said. I think Callum knows that as well. He knows that you need younger. Callum's said it. We need physicality. You know, I need somebody to come in and just take the fucking. Just Callum doesn't give a shit if he's dropped because a younger guy comes in. Like, the players know the story. Emilio Aguirre was a fantastic player until up stepped a wee cocky young lad who went, I've had my picture of him with Nakamura, is he? I'm coming to take your spot. Hold my Vimto, said Kieran Tierney. And he's off. That's it. Is Aguirre to the bench. Kieran Tierney, first team star. The players know the score. You know, the players are no walking about with their head in the sand thinking that the be all and end all. You know, they know the script. They know that we're all getting a bit older. But anyway, the board have been playing to the media's narrative since last season, 29th of January, and not a penny spent. Driving me bonkers. Big shout out. Oh, where is it? It's on Twitter. I need to get this guy's face up. Liam! Liam's on day 29 of not shaving. He's on day 29 of not shaving until we get a... Oh dear. Day 29 of not shaving until we buy a striker. Business meetings are getting interesting. Fair play to Liam for going on an unshaven protest. Not sure about that, like, but my hat's off to you, sir. It's the wee bit grey that gives. It's like he's not even done anything to it. He's just not even cutting it or anything. Just like it's just not even touching it. It's just growing. It's just growing. It would take me about 3 months, to be fair, to try and get. It would take longer than that. I mean, that is one. It's one beast of a beard. It's wasn't the right analogy, but anyway, it's an animal, isn't it? Fair play to you, mate. But anyway, it would take me about 3 years to maybe get that amount of growth. Dear, but yes, we still haven't signed him. McGregor will want the manager's job, just like Billy McNeil. Nah. And I don't see Callum McGregor as because he's not done any coaching. At the same age, Scott Brown had started his coaching badges. I don't think that McGregor has done his coaching badges. The lure of generational wealth and rejoin Brendan Rodgers might see Calmack leaving the summer. His talent has been wasted playing defensive midfield. Yeah. Spot on. Spot on. Sometimes you take the rawness out of a player. And you can understand why managers go, do you know what, I want you to play in this defensive. And, do you know, you're the captain. Sometimes you take the rawness out of a player. Do you know, you see, when Callum gets on the edge of the box, first thing he was on, he's like, fuck, boom, boom, shoot. That's the Calmac that we grew up watching. We didn't grow up watching it, but that we've watched grow up over the years. That attacking midfielder that wants to get forward and wants to take shots at goals. Do you know, playing him in that holding role. And sometimes that's what you're remembered for. It's the end part of your career. Callum was nearly away from us, been loaned to Notts County Forrest, been loyal to the club, needs to be an ambassador. I'm going to jump through these. Stephen Johnson's giving out memberships this morning. Thank you for that, Stephen. McGregor can go. To be honest, he's shown some traits of this season that aren't right for your captain. Just another who's come to the end of the road here. Take the money for Hatate and Tenecte. Would they really weaken the squad? No. If we win tonight, are we through to the next stage? Yes. Pretty much. Unless there's a complete crazy scorelines elsewhere. But I think that if we win tonight, we are through to the playoffs. We're not going to finish top 8 where you get... I've got to take that picture of Liam done. It's kind of freaking me out. This big, huge, bearded guy on my screen. Sorry, Liam. Well done, Stephen Johnson. Norwich will be offering Hoch more money. Well, there lies the problem at Celtic. 3-0 or 1-0 tonight. I think that's... I mean, we'll get onto the game in a couple of minutes or so, but I think Celtic could go out and score quite a few tonight, especially at Celtic Park. I think that Martin O'Neill at Celtic Park for a European night for the first time since 2004. Everybody in there is... I can see it. I think it'll be a full house tonight, purely just for Martin O'Neill, the Martin O'Neill effect. I think if Wilfred Nancy was still here, people were like, I'm not going tonight. But I think it will be a full house tonight. Anyway, Stephen Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Thank you, mate. Forrest done a job and he got paid for it. Simple, says Paradise Found. Interesting. I think the days are gone now. Yeah, I think those days are gone, and I've drank my coffee, and it's gone right through me. Anyway, win tonight guarantees qualification. No, it doesn't. It guarantees us into the playoff position. Doesn't guarantee qualification. We're not in top 8. You need to finish top 8. Table. Right, let's get the table up. And then I need to go in a couple of minutes. Split screen. Right, there is the Europa League. Now, the ones with the blue line next to them are the teams that are in automatic qualification place for the last 16. It's just the same as the Champions League. So Lyon, Aston Villa, Midtjylland are down to 4th, Braga, Roma, and Robbie Keane's team's down to 7th. Oh, interesting. Real Betis is in 8th position. And then the teams that are in and around the automatic qualification, Porto will be hoping that they win to try and get up there. If they don't, they'll be in the playoff position. So the teams currently in the playoff positions, Porto, Genk, going all the way down to Celtic in 24th position. Celtic need to finish 24 or above to play in the playoff position. When you think about it, if we had won the game, we would have been pretty clear. Anyway, that is me done and dusted for this morning. I will be back on this afternoon before we go live, an hour and a half before the game tonight. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.